Hi everyone, welcome to the Movieception Show. My name is Fariba, and tonight we're about to watch episode 7 of Agatha All Along, which means we're about to get to the end of this witchy journey. Sorry for the puns. But yeah, but still, we seriously though, we are definitely getting to the end of the series. We only have about 3 episodes, and after tonight's episode, there's only 2, and this actually would be the second to last week that we're going to be watching Agatha All Along, because next week would be the 2-episode finales, which is like a bit unusual. I don't believe this has ever happened before with Disney, where they've had a 2-episode finale for a series. So very interesting way to kind of end off things. Maybe it's going to end on an explosive note, and that's why we have a 2-episode finale instead of like a single episode. Or maybe they just messed up their schedule and just didn't realize that, you know, their actual timeline and schedule for the show wasn't exactly lining up with Halloween, because of course next week would be Halloween. The episode comes out the day before Halloween, so very good timing on that. But yes, we will have a 2-episode finale next week, so that'll be it for Agatha All Along, and then we won't have our next Marvel Disney Plus show until March of next year, when Daredevil Born Again comes out, because that's now been confirmed that that's going to be coming out March 4th, I believe it was March 4th. So yeah, we're already getting down to the end of this journey. So far this series has been really solid. Yes, there's been some minor flaws, and it's not the most perfect show, especially not in comparison to Penguin. Penguin has been phenomenal in terms of just the storytelling and the risk and just the whole setting. Like that's a whole different kind of level right there. But that is not to take away the fact that Agatha All Along, when you compare it to everything with some of the other Marvel Disney Plus shows that we've seen in the past, past 4 years, 3 years, it definitely does rank as one of the better ones. It definitely feels like a very cohesive series that knows what it wants to do. It does feel very episodic when you get through each of the episodes, and it doesn't feel like it's really lost or anything like that. It has a sense of identity. I think that's the best way to describe it. That it knows what it wants to be. It is a mystery show about witches, yet we also are dealing with some other lingering mysteries around what's going on with some of the characters like Agatha and Billy, and we still get a lot of the vibes of WandaVision. I think even I've said this many times that WandaVision remains as one of the best Marvel Disney Plus shows out there. Again, kind of depending on how you want to rank Loki, right? So, but still, it's been a very solid show. I've liked it so far. I will say that last week's episode was very good. The one before, I believe it was a bit too short, but so far it's been progressive well. Now it's just a matter of how they're going to conclude things now that we only have 3 episodes left. So I'm just hoping that they stick the landing, because this is kind of an area where I get a little queasy about and skeptical about how Disney handles some things, because of just some patterns that we've seen before, whether it be Marvel or Star Wars. So yeah, let's see how it goes. We got a lot of answers last week. There's still a lot of things that we don't know even after last week, so there's still some unclarity about how Billy came to be Billy in the first place, how that even worked, what really allowed him to even come, to allow him to manifest outside Westview. And on top of that, there are still some questions about, why, Wanda wouldn't have been able to detect him. Although, again, there's the whole sigil thing, so that could have been it. Yeah, there's a lot of whole debate on that, I know. But hopefully we get a little bit more clarity in this episode. I believe this episode is very Wicked focused, and we do get to see Lillian and Jen. So looks like we're going to see some characters come back. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right down into episode 7 of Agatha All Along. She's Linda. Yes, I know my Wicked stuff. Oh, that's giving me a little bit of Alice in Wonderland vibes too.
Allowed.
Okay then, where's Rio?
Very valid question. We've been asking the same.
Queries for your old babysitter? Your mom's ex best friend.
I'll get what I want. I want my mom. I have a mom.
Oh. Man, I don't take Slender like that against Mom right here.
Maximoff really dead.
Yes. No. Maybe.
Did you see a body?
Yes, I did.
Did anybody else?
It's hard to say. Hey, you want straight answers? Ask a straight lady.
That's like that's like Disney's answer right there. Oh,
Now I wonder if you've ever been on the road at all.
that's what we've been all saying, huh? We're asking the same questions here. Oh my God,
Classic.
Maleficent,
Oh,
Alfalfa.
she's based on me, you know.
Prove it.
Boy.
So that means the opposite. You're being truthful. Well, that can't be right. God.
Some time.
Oh. There you go. You spoke too soon.
I wish.
Yeah, we both were.
They're live.
Where are we?
You is the son of the Scarlet Witch? How do you know?
She's like, what?
I told you. Yeah.
Yes, I love this plan. I just think that maybe we should find the ingredients first, though, right?
Yeah, this is what we thought. She was kind of going around
What do you
timeline, right?
see? Most people don't realize that. When I was a child, I experienced my life out of sequence. I would get these flashes, these gaps. Now it's happening again.
Whoa! Ow! I thought we were cool.
We are not cool, teenager.
Damn, using his full name.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have lashed out at you. Yes.
Yeah, because she doesn't remember that she gave the sigil,
I
right?
used it to save Alice.
Your bar mitzvah.
Oh, there she goes.
Lilia, take it easy.
Jen, aren't you furious?
I mean, always.
Ain't that just like a witch?
Lilia, are you the one who cast the sigil on me?
Yes.
I saw what was going to happen to you that night. I saw who you were and who you would become. I knew you'd need time.
Oh, that's his book. That's where his book went.
Because all I saw was death.
You're alive.
Who massacred this spread?
She did.
Who's the querent?
You mean the subject? Me.
And leads to large gaping wound.
Am I William or am I Billy?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, that's a
See?
very good question.
Lilia knows what she's doing.
This
We're asking
is
the right
sacred
questions
passage
today.
of the spread. The first card. You are the magician. You have enormous potential and the
So
ability
fitting.
to turn all of your goals into reality. Very fitting. I was falling. I will fall.
Yes. What will you do with your remaining time?
Oh, that makes more
Jen,
sense.
wake up.
Where are they going?
We don't need to worry about them right now. Jen,
Not
I'm going
right
to take this
now.
path toward my trial.
Agatha and Billy need my help.
Because you are my sister in the craft.
Go ahead.
The Queen of Cups.
Now you see.
Empathetic, intuitive, inner voice to be trusted.
No, sorry.
So
But
she
she
was
got the
the
card right.
subject.
Why doesn't the ceiling stop?
What's missing?
Tower reversed. Disaster, destruction, sudden upheaval, but reversed. It means miraculous trans. Who is that?
Don't you recognize me, Lilia?
Oh, Rio? Lady Death?
In the end, all roads lead
Ah,
to me.
Lady Death. Hey.
Rio is.
Death.
Rio. She's deaf.
She's what?
The original Green Witch.
Oh.
Is it true?
What can I say? I like the bad boys. Lilia.
I loved being a witch.
What is she doing?
Power. Upright.
Let us begin.
It was the 7th episode of Agatha all along. And I have to say, I wasn't expecting this to be very, very focused on Lilia, but I'm not gonna lie, this is a pretty solid episode for what its intention was. But I think it's very clear. We're seeing a pretty big pattern here. Since the 3rd episode. And that is that in this Witch's Road, almost each and every person dies up until there's one remaining witch. I think there was a lot of speculation about this. I think this was even a theory that by the end of this series, we're probably going to get down to just one witch, which is like, okay, that's interesting. So, and it looks as though that from what we saw here, Lilia has passed away. So, but doing so in a way that she knew what her intended purpose was. And it makes a lot more sense now seeing what she was going through, why she had those gaps, how all those gaps come together, and we see the resolution here where she now knew what her intended purpose was, and that is that she was going to be the one to eventually kind of save them at the end in that particular trial right there. And not only that, but we also got a lot more answers, right? Although we still have questions as well. So, but I have to say, like, I think even though that we did kind of pivot to a different character as the main focus of this episode, doesn't take away the fact that this is definitely the one that's the most intriguing, especially getting a little sense of who Lilia is, because we've known for a while that there's something that's been bothering her. Like each and every time she'll be in and out with her, I guess, her gaps. And we saw throughout the episodes, like it's pretty clear that once you start to see some of the episodes that, oh, she's like envisioning things in the past, in the future. And they seem to have an intended purpose. And we see all those gaps coming together now here in this episode, and that is that she's eventually going to be the one to save them, whether it be for Billy or whether it be for Agatha or heck, Jen, right? So, and I think that it does work out in the way it is. I think once you get to the end of the episode, like I started to go into my mind, I'm like, wow, this is probably the most mystical episode that we've seen so far from this series, considering the fact that this is a show about witches and going on the witch's road, and trying to fulfill their intended purposes and trying to get their powers back as witches. And this one definitely felt the most mystical in showcasing all the witch feels, right? And I think a lot of that is of course because of Lilia. Like, she's the most senior member out of all of them. She knows how it all works. And I have to say, like, it really works. It's very effective. I really love just the ending right there where she encounters the Salem 7 and then we see how her, her faith basically come true with the fact that eventually it would reverse, and we saw that reverse of like, I guess you can say that the world kind of reversing, and how gravity reversing. There you go, gravity reversing, and getting rid of all the Salem 7, and then of course that also meant ultimately her demise as well. And so, but again, very mystical, probably the most mystical that we've seen so far, and really showcasing the theme that we've seen so far in the show. But also, I think what we saw in this episode, we saw a little bit more of who Lilia is, understanding who she was as a character. And I think that's something that we've seen a lot with some of the other episodes as well. I think even, what was it, episode 4 with Alice, how we got to see a little bit more of what her guilt was, and that is the fact that, her mother, and there was that curse, and then of course trying to undo that curse. And it seems so that each of the witches, even though at the end of the day there will be death, each of the witches seem to have some kind of resolution. At least that's what we saw with Alice and what we saw with Lilia at this point. So now we only have 3 left, although I don't know if we can technically count Billy as part of the coven, because he wasn't part of the group that sang the Witch's Road song. So that's the only thing that's a bit unclear, is that does this mean that Billy's also included or not? Because technically speaking, he's more familiar, but we'll see, right? We only have 2 episodes left. The only people remaining are Jen, Agatha, Billy, and of course now we got the answer that Rio Vidal is Lady Death. I think a lot of people have been saying that she's Lady Death. I know I briefly said that she was Morgan Le Fay, but the Lady Death thing started to kind of pick up later on. I was like, okay, I'm starting to see where she is Lady Death, and now it's confirmed that Rio Vidal is indeed Lady Death. Although, now speaking of this, we haven't seen Aubrey Plaza in like 3 episodes. Last week we didn't see her. The week before, I mean, she was there at the end. Yeah, so this is now the 2nd straight episode that we haven't seen Ria. We don't know where she's at. You would have think that Ria would have showed up at some point in this episode because of the fact that we get to see Lilia's death, but we don't. So I guess we're going to definitely see Aubrey Plaza come back at some point in the next 2 episodes, because there's only 2 episodes left. So yeah, we really need to know where the heck Aubrey Plaza is, what she's, what her intentions are going into this Witch's Road, and how this is going to affect Billy and Agatha. And it does seem as though that Jen might not have a very happy ending, considering what we've been seeing as pretty much a pattern in this whole journey so far. So, but again, we only have 2 episodes left. There's still a lot of big questions. Like, I will say this, we got a lot of more answers this time around. We got to understand what Lilia was going through. We understand that she has gaps. We now know what her intended purpose was. What else? We now know that, well, she knew about the whole sigil thing, so she admitted to that. We got the reveal about Lady Death, so that's another big one. Yeah, I think we had a couple of, the beginning when they started to ask questions about, love the fact that that Billy was asking all the big questions, and we still didn't get the answer to what happened to Wanda. I love how they're very vague about Wanda, like, is Wanda still alive? I don't know, maybe she is, I don't know, she might not, she may. Did you see her body? Like, okay, so once again giving us the impression that maybe Wanda might not be dead. Oh my god, like, I mean, again, this is like the biggest question, like, this is the biggest weight that everyone's been wanting to see, is like, oh, Wanda's not dead after Multiverse of Madness, that she's somehow somewhere still around, right? Who knows, maybe you might still see her, but that's just wishful thinking right there. That's just wishful thinking right there. I have low expectations that Wanda's gonna show up, or Elizabeth Olsen's gonna show up. I highly doubt it, but you can't have those pipe dreams, right? So but yeah, I think that so far we've been getting a lot of episodes. Again, I think with what we got to see here, it is again, really showing what's really been going on. It's really sticking. I think, again, one of the things I love about, I wouldn't say love, but what I do appreciate about this series is that it really knows what its identity is, what it wants to do, how it wants to showcase its storytelling without feeling as if it's confusing and lost. This one, even though it's very focused on Lilia, I like the fact that it's still integral to what the main storytelling is, even though we don't get to see a lot of Agatha being the centerpiece of the story, which I will say, like, I mean, the last episode we haven't really seen a lot of Agatha doing a lot of action herself, right? Like last episode we got to see a little bit more of Billy, this episode we got to see a little bit more of Lilia, but now it's just a matter of, okay, well, we're now getting down to the last episodes. Only 2 episodes left. We have to somehow make some conclusion. Will we have enough time for that? I mean, I think one of the things it was running in my mind when I was clicking this episode that this is only a 37-minute episode, but when you take out credits and recaps, that's going to make it, I think, roughly 32 minutes. So this is like a very short episode. I will say it didn't feel as short, like it didn't feel as short as, oh man, this went by really quickly as I did with the episode 2, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, the one where we got the reveal about Billy. This one definitely felt like the 32 minutes was a lot more warranted because it didn't feel too long, it didn't feel too short. We got a pretty good essence of what's going on, and everything was very key to setting up this episode. So I will say this one was definitely the more effective way of managing a very short episode. Let's just hope that there won't be any more short episodes because we still have a lot of, a story left. There's a lot of questions still left that have yet to be answered. They need to be addressed at some point before the show resolves. And now it's just a matter of, are they going to be able to knock the ending out of the ballpark, right? So that's going to be my main thing going into the last 2 episodes, because I know, again, when it comes to just about any Marvel Disney show or even Star Wars, right, like a lot of times it falters by the end. The ending does not meet the expectations that a lot of us would have, or it just would completely bomb. We've had those moments before. And then that's particularly the case with Marvel. Marvel has a very big issue with not quite landing on the ending. So I'm really gonna cross my fingers that, at the end of the day, once we get to next week's episode, next last 2 episodes, that it will resolve everything in a very well manner. We get some answers. Hopefully we'll figure out a little, because there's still the big question, like how is Billy able to take possession of this body that used to be William Kaplan and now Kaplan, and now it's like, okay, well, he still technically wasn't a real character, like he wasn't a real person. How did he still manage to somehow get out of Westview? So lots of big questions right there. Again, those are the big dire questions that still have yet to be answered. And of course, there's gonna be a matter of, will we actually see Tommy? Like, will Billy be able to accomplish his journey on the Witch's Road and somehow reunite with Tommy? Because that's clearly what his motivations are. We knew that from last week. That's what was basically revealed. He doesn't really know too much about Wanda. He doesn't really care about her. We saw that he even just like, even the slander of Wanda he was making, I was like, oh my god. I did not want to hear that. I was like, oh, how he is talking crap about Wanda, like, oh. So clearly he doesn't really care too much about Wanda, although he's very curious. But clearly his motive is Tommy. He wants to be reunited to him somehow. Tommy's somewhere, at least in his mind, and it's just a matter of how and where this is going to go by the end. And of course, that means that when we get to next week's episode, it's going to be 2 episodes. So yeah, just kind of give you a heads up with next week's episode, because it's going to be the day before Halloween. That means that I'm probably just going to have both episodes, just at them both side by side, like I did with the first 2, and upload that. So that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, I don't think there's really much to go off of. I mean, a lot of people were hoping we were going to see Mephisto, but like, at this point, I don't know if we're going to see Mephisto. We've heard him. We heard his name in, what was it, episode 3, right? But I feel like at this point we're so late in the game now that I highly doubt we're gonna see Mephisto, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, we heard Mephisto, and I mean, this is probably the show that will be most connected to the whole Mephisto thing. Although again, I still think that the demon from like, what was it, 4th episode, made Mephisto. Oh no, I'm just having wishful thoughts, but I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna see Mephisto at this point. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Mephisto, but at this point in the game, I think it's just a bit too late to really bring in Mephisto, because we only have 2 episodes left. We need to wrap things up, and we still have some questions that need to be answered, and we still don't know where this journey is going to go, where it's going to conclude, and how we're going to see Rio come back, right? So, lots of big things going into the finale. We need to see Aubrey Plaza again. We need to see why Lady that's there, what her intended purpose is going to be, what's going to happen in what could be the last trial. When we get to next week's episode, we might get the last trial. Do we think that do you think even Jen's going to survive at that point, right? So yeah, I think that really kind of covers everything I need to say about tonight's episode, because again, we're really getting down to the ending of the series. We only have 2 episodes left. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Do you think Jen, Agatha, or Billy are going to survive the remaining parts of this journey? It doesn't seem as though that all of them are going to make it. And if so, who is going to survive by the end? Will we get some answers about Billy? Is he really Billy? Is he really William? Right? I think that's a really great question. Like, I was like, wow, that's a really good question, because even I am asking that. So what do you think? Is he really Billy? Is he really William? What could he be in between? Will we get more answers about Billy? Because there's still a lot of things that we still don't know about how Billy managed to come into this real world and get possession of the body. Like, is he really real? Does that mean I'm going to be able to see Tommy? What does this mean for Agatha? Is Agatha going to be able to survive this witch's road? Is she going to make it? Not make it? What's going to be her purpose going forward? Is it just so that she has something to do? Because Lilia did give her a warning about something, so there's that. Do you think we're going to really see Mephisto, right? Are we really going to see Mephisto in the last 2 episodes or not? What do you think this means with Rio de Vidal? Are we going to see her at some point? What does this mean, again, with Rio de Vidal? Because we haven't even seen her in 2 episodes. And just going to the last 2 episodes, what are your thoughts, your predictions, your theories going into it, knowing the fact that I think we're seeing some pretty common patterns? So do you think it's going to end in a very satisfying note, or it's going to be ending in heartbreak? Could it be leading into something? Do we still think there's even a chance that we're going to be able to see Elizabeth Olsen come back as Wanda Maximoff, or even just get some answers out of it? Let me know your thoughts below, and make sure to like and subscribe.